So we open up Ravens at Chiefs, the AFC Championship title match. Very next night, we got Friday Night Football from Brazil.
You going? Rio?
Sure. They told me that there's going to be a live fantasy football happy hour from Brazil.
Matthew Dino?
Oh, listen, they love Dollaritas in Brazil too. Make no mistake about that. Packers-Eagles, so Jordan Love versus Jalen Hurts. That's two great NFC teams. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then a playoff rematch in Week 1 on Sunday night. Rams at the Lions. Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff once again facing their former teams. Face-off there. That'll be a lot of fun. Matthew Stafford's return once again to Detroit.
If you're going to choose the worst game, it would probably be Bengals against my Giants. And you still get Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase in primetime there.
Right, which is must-watch.
The resurgent New York Giants on their way to 6-11.
Speaking of which, did you see the Giants'
but
new
honestly,
throwbacks released today?
Spider-Man?
Yeah. Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Dreadful.
Honestly, and from an NBC perspective, like, I don't want to speak for the executives here. They're thrilled. Joe Burrow against New York.
Yeah.
It's the New York market. It's the New York television
Giants
market.
fan base is massive.
Giants fan base will be massive. Like, that'll do that game, regardless of the quote competitiveness of it. That game will do a massive number.
Yeah, and if that's the quote unquote worst game on the schedule, you're doing pretty well.
No, we have a ridiculous schedule. God bless NBC. God bless the
bless
Proud
America.
Peacock. God bless America.
God bless Daniel Jones.
Let's close out with some notable schedules, and then we'll show you the bye weeks because there are 2 weeks of bye-mageddon this year. But we talked about the Chiefs a lot. They kick off against the Ravens. Super Bowl rematch is Week 7 after their bye. The interesting thing here, Matthew, from a fantasy perspective and a Chiefs perspective, is that 9 of their final 15 games are on the road.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting, and it's kind of a mixed bag there, right? But you sit there, you look at starting in Week 11, they're at the Bills, they're at the Panthers. That's not an easy place to play. They're at the Browns in Week 15. They finish out the season at Steelers, at Broncos in Week 18.
A little bit of a soft landing there.
A little bit of a soft landing, but still it's like, the Chiefs are going to have a tougher schedule, right? Especially, like, honestly, just down the stretch. You're not worried really about the Raiders. That's the Black Friday game. But honestly, at Bills, again, at Panthers, the Panthers have a good defense. Home to the Chargers, that's a good defense. At the Browns, that's a good defense. Home to the Texans, that's a good defense. At the Steelers, that's a good defense. Like, as you head down the stretch, now, it's still Patrick Mahomes, it's still Andy Reid. They added Hollywood Brown. We like Xavier Worthy.
Right.
That in theory, we expect a suspension for Rashee Rice, but in theory, he should be back by then. We don't know how that's going to play out, but so it should be a better offense than they were last year. But yeah, if you want to knock the Chiefs slightly, you would love to see them have more of a even home road split down the stretch than having whatever it is, 9 of their final 15 games on the road.
I think the thing with the Chiefs too is that previously I was a big believer in the fact that like their schedule doesn't really matter because it's Mahomes, and Mahomes is the most defense agnostic quarterback. No, I'm not so sure after last year. And they won the Super Bowl, which is still bizarre to me that they had seemingly a very bad year for them and they still won the Super Bowl. But the fact that don't know what's going to happen with Rashee Rice. Marquise Brown, is he going to be good? Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be a glorified MVS? I think he's going to be better than that, but we don't know in this offense.
And he's had trouble staying healthy throughout his career.
Exactly. Kelsey is going to be on a pitch count, you would suspect. And then we'll see what else they do. But I don't think you can just pencil in the Chiefs. Previously, you could pencil them in, it's going to be a top 2, top 3 offense. It may be that again, but there's a bit more uncertainty than usual.
I mean, if repeating is really hard, three-peating is almost impossible.
Right.
So,
yep. At the same time.
They're the Chiefs and he's Patrick Mahomes.
Right. Over on the NFC, the powerhouse over there, the 49ers, they open up on Monday Night Football against the Jets. They have 6 primetime games. That is the maximum allowed for teams in the NFL. 4 of the first 6 opponents have sub-8 win totals here, though, Matthew.
They do, but we expect the Jets to be better. I mean, so
that's a tough trip for the Jets. Cross country.
That is a tough trip.
Shanahan knows Saleh and Ulbricht's defense very well.
Yes.
The Jets will obviously probably finish that as 5.5-point underdogs, which is a pretty big line. All things considered.
I would think so. And then it's a pretty good. To your point, it's a pretty good schedule after that. They're at the Vikings where they'll get to play a rookie quarterback or Sam Darnold, who they know well from his year last year with them. They're at the Rams. Okay, fine. That's always a pain in the butt game between those two guys. But home to the Patriots in Week 4, home to the Cardinals in Week 5. They're at Seattle. Like, if you have to do a Thursday night game, that's the Thursday night game. But if you have to travel on a short week, they're, just going up from San Francisco to Seattle, that's not that bad. And They seem to always dominate Seattle on Thursday Night Football. Then they got 2 tough ones, home to the Chiefs and Cowboys, but then they get a bye, and then the rest of the schedule, is a little more up and down. But still, I think one of the things that I think this is good that they get off to this sort of an easy start, because the 49ers last year were one of the oldest teams in the NFL in terms of just age. And the other thing about the 49ers is last year, for the most part, they stayed pretty healthy. They didn't have any massive injuries. Debo missed some time for sure, but they really didn't have massive injuries. And in fact, no one was sure what was going to happen with Brock Purdy, and he came back, and he was Brock Purdy.
Yep.
I mean, when you think about him in the NFC Championship game. So that's going to be a key to the 49ers. Can they stay healthy again this year? The fact that their schedule isn't as tough, I think, certainly at the beginning, helps that.
Yep, 4 of the first 6 opponents with those sub-8 win totals, and then also the 8th opponent, the Dallas Cowboys, who they just destroy every single time that they play them, often on NBC. They did last year, and they probably will again in Week 8.
Yeah. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.